What's going on, everyone? In today's video, I'm extremely excited to bring back Victor Gallegos for the third time, part 3, talking about seasonal books, specifically Christmas books. Victor is the king of seasonal book arbitrage. He does high school books really well, but also does Christmas books really well. And I'm excited to bring him back on the channel because a lot of people have tons of questions for Victor, and I want to get those answered now. So without further ado, what's going on, Victor?
Joji, what's up, man? I enjoy talking with you, especially when we get to talk about seasonal books, right? And my favorite topic is Christmas books, just because there's just so much fun to talk about and to buy and sell. So yeah, let's bring it on.
Before we get into the video, make sure you go back and watch part 1 and part 2. That's when Victor absolutely just mind blew me with seasonal books. So part 1 and part 2 will be about seasonal books, Christmas books specifically. I'd highly recommend going back and watching those videos. Also, make sure to join Victor's Facebook group because it gives away tons of free value and information that will be linked down below. But with that said, let's just get right into it. So you've got now over 2,000 members in your Facebook group. I've got over 3,000 YouTube subscribers. And while really that's not a lot in the YouTube world or social media, it does seem quite significant, especially if those people are taking our advice and actually buying these books and selling them. So my first question for you is, having 5,000 people between both of us, and I'm sure there's a lot of overlap, are Christmas books dead? Is there too much competition? Is there still opportunity for someone to buy a Christmas book now and flip it during December?
Yeah, there's on Christmas books the opportunities are just so vast. So 5,000 people couldn't touch the Christmas books out there because there are, first off, there are tons of Christmas books being published every year, and then all the old books out there together makes the opportunity with Christmas books are just plentiful. Yeah, we can go back to the data and see that these Christmas books continue to sell. Even last year they sold, and they look like they're ready to go again this year. So yeah, basically Christmas books aren't dead. I'm going to be buying them again. I know, Joji, you said that you were going to buy some Christmas books this year. Definitely Christmas books are an awesome way to get started. Even if you're just starting with books and you just hit our channel right now and you're like, oh, what's this all about? One of the first things you should start thinking about is Christmas books because it's easy to grasp. I think I talked about this in the first 2 videos with Joji, but basically, any book that's seasonal like that are books that I really buy, and Christmas is one of those best seasons, right? Because most of the time Christmas books are not in demand, and then in November, December they really spike in demand. So you can really take advantage of that. So there are a ton of Christmas books now. We're in June right now. And it's a great time to be buying these Christmas books, basically have them sent into Amazon, and then be ready for the spike that happens every November, December.
Absolutely. I've already even sold some Christmas books this year, which is awesome. I also sold Christmas books in this, last year around this time. So it's kind of crazy how you can still sell Christmas books. Now, most of them are going to be sitting there at Amazon's warehouse waiting to be sold. But I mean, that's the reason why we send them in, is because some of them actually sell for the target price beforehand. And one of the examples that Victor always gives us is The Night Before Christmas. And what I want to do is just show you guys an example of a book that currently is not a book that would be flippable, but in the future is going to be an absolutely amazing book. And this is one of the reasons why we say Christmas books aren't dead either, is every year there's going to be new books that are not necessarily published this year, but new books that maybe Amazon goes out of stock with that are going to do really well. So here's a book, The Night Before Christmas. Victor, when would somebody want this book?
I To me, this type of book is so much fun because everyone knows when you would want this book. It even tells you the night before Christmas. Right? That's when this book really is in huge demand, right? Nobody's buying this book in May, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, you want this book right before Christmas, and you can see by the chart here on Keepa that it really spikes in December timeframe.
Yep, you can see a couple of things, right? So you can see that black line, the used price spike every year. I can just zoom into any single time. In October, the price was $1.50. By the time it's mid-December, it's up to $9. Albeit this is not a book that's flippable right now because there's not enough margin for what you would buy it for, what you can sell for. But these books that are really cheap and are really high demand, is really easy for you to see the pattern, right? Every year it goes up in used price, and we're going to be looking for books that, try to get into the 20s and 30s and even beyond that. But besides just the used price, what other indicator here, and I'm trying to highlight it for you, what other indicator here is also a major giveaway that this is a book popping?
I mean, the sales rank, when you just clicked over the sales rank just a second ago, I think I saw 70, 80 rank.
80. Yeah.
that is crazy. I don't even know how many books that sells per hour. Probably a couple of hundred per hour. That type of book is selling there in December. It's a crazy popular book.
Yep. This is something that I would be tracking just because when Amazon does eventually go out of stock and doesn't sell, this is going to be a great book.
Yeah.
I perceive this book 15, 20, 30 years from now being an amazing book because if it is that popular and the sales run gets that low, that means there's a lot of people who are going to be buying this book. So I think it's going to be an awesome book to go after. One more really important thing, if we look at this bottom graph, what other thing is a really major, telltale sign that the book is performing really well every Christmas?
Well, what you're really looking at, right, is the used offer count. So the used offer count really dives every November, December. Every November and December, we're like, at 100, and it gets down to like close to zero, down to 10 or 15. That's a really healthy book, and it continues to do that year in and year out. That's what you're looking for in any Christmas book.
And remember that this is offer count, which represents the number of sellers. That's this number here. It doesn't represent the total number of copies. Often, if you actually look at who the seller's on, there'll be people who have more than a copy. Like, for example, Glenn, the bookseller, has 30 copies, and they're only represented as one seller, Victor, right? So It just shows you how crazy this book is selling when it gets to that point. So what we want to do is illustrate a point, right? Is that there are tons of these books out there. Actually, Victor and I launched the version 1 Christmas list, 250 books. I think it was last April. And the people who bought that said that it was great, right? Didn't receive any complaints. I mean, people made their money back because there was 250 Christmas books, a lot of books that are not hard to find. And what's really exciting is this upcoming Wednesday, which is going to be Wednesday the 12th, we're going to have a live stream where we're actually going to be launching version 2, Victor. And so if you guys want to join us for the live party, we'll have a thumbnail up on, YouTube, so you guys can kind of, make sure that if you're on YouTube, like you're notified and you know that it's going to be coming. But yeah, if you guys want to come to our launch party, we're going to be launching version 2 of our 250 Christmas book list, and it's going to be, Victor, ready for a completely different set of 250 awesome books.
I was about to say that these 250 books don't overlap with the other 250. These are 250 completely different books than the 250 before, and each one of these 250 were handpicked by both of us. We spent the whole year gathering them and finding out to make sure that these are really good books, and we're just happy to bring it to the community.
Yep. So that's going to be, let me see again. That's going to be next Wednesday, which is June 12th, 4:30 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. PST. So it's going to be, 7:30 to 8:45 if you're on the East Coast of the United States. And there will be some incentives if you're a BookMine member, or there's going to be some advantages, right? And we'll talk about that later on. But we're really excited. And you should come just to learn about Christmas books. Even if you're not going to be purchasing that list, you should just come to learn about Christmas books. And by the way, on today's video, we are going to go over 3 of amazing books that are on that list of 250. And then in the live stream, we're also going to give away a couple more. I can't give away too many more than that. Yeah. We want to illustrate how cool this list is because a lot of you might be going, oh, yeah, Joji, Victor, you teach us how to find the books. Well, a lot of these books are not super easy to find. And
that's right.
And these are books that even Victor has been selling for 7 years, and he was all about seasonal books. He might not have even found them until last year. So and the cool thing is that there's tons of other books out there that we haven't even found. And so there's opportunity for you guys to find those books as well. So more details on that here shortly. But, one question I have for you is actually a really good question, and people do have this question. I want to show you a book called A Story a Day Till Christmas. This is obviously a Christmas book, came out in 1985. And you can see that right now you can buy it Prime for $8. And if you look
I recognize it.
Yeah, you recognize this. If you look at this book, it performed really well 2017, 2018, 2019. It was often getting up into the mid-20s, the 30s and higher.
Yeah.
And then just this last year, it just kind of sucked, honestly. Like it didn't do well at all. So my question for you is, how often would you see that on a Christmas book that's performed or seems to have performed really well in the past?
Yeah. So when I'm as we just looked at in the other Christmas book, is we're looking for healthy Christmas books, right? We're looking for a book that continually had that same pattern where it kind of drops in the used offer count year in and year out. And this last year, it didn't look like this book did that, but the other years in the past, it has. So I take that, I still account for that, and that this year it hasn't, which to me means that this coming year isn't going to be as good. but it's
Right.
still me. There's still a possibility that I could still flip it. So what were the highest points of that book?
It looks like the lowest use price
Like,
was about $8, but the buy box price pretty consistent. It was in the mid-20s.
okay. So what I would do with a book like this, because it still sells quite a bit, even though it didn't have a great season, it still sold quite a bit. So what I would try to look for if I was going to buy this book is probably buy it at where it is now, but look for a really good copy. Because even though that buy box shows at $24, what's happening is that there's still people selling the book at an even higher price if they're
Yep.
able to have a very good or like new copy. So what I'm going to try to do is probably buy like new copy or a very good copy to try to like actually get the $25 to $30 mark for that book. So my goal would probably be to buy it for like definitely under $10 and probably sell it for 30 in very good condition.
Right. And you could always go over to eBay as well. Like you can check
Mhm.
those offers. You can sort by lowest first. Often there will be little discount codes, buy four, get one free or 10% off. This one's $5.74. Looks like it's in good condition. So obviously you'd want, if you can, to try to stick with good condition copies here. But the fact of the matter is this is a book that still does really well. And I mean, it's a book that still, was buy boxing as high as the 20s. And oftentimes, just because the buy box is at $24 doesn't mean that there weren't any sales above that. Because like Victor mentioned, some people are going to look through the offers. Like they'll actually go and sort by prime, right? Think about yourself as a customer. Like you don't just go, oh, the buy box price is $25. I guess I'm just going to spend $25. And, some people actually will go in and they'll look at the offers. They'll sort by the prime listing and they go, okay, $24.95 acceptable. Okay, I'll buy this one for $28.99. Very good condition. I'll spend $3 more for that, right? Now, one thing that I would personally say is that about the healthy book, like Victor was mentioning, is we're really looking at also the offer count today relative to the same day last year and trying to look at, well, how did the book perform going into that previous season? So in this case, the offer count was 50, pretty high for this book if you look at it over its last, 6-7 years. And its use price didn't spike in the same way that it did in previous years, right, Victor?
Yeah, right.
And now this offer count is even higher. It's at 80. So this is a book I'd pull the brakes back on. And one thing that you should understand is that not every Christmas book is going to perform beautifully every year. Some books, like any books, will do better than other years. And that's the reason why you should track the book, because it could become a book that's great again in the future. And a great example of that is if we look at this pop-up book here, The Night Before Christmas. This one is going to be a book that during some years does really well. Like this last year, what happened, Victor, with this yellow shaded box? What happened there?
Yeah, so actually, Amazon was on the listing and in September got out of the listing, so sold out. So that is a really awesome opportunity when Amazon's on a really popular book and then sells out. Basically, it allows people to really sell the book much higher, and you can see that happening within like a few weeks of Amazon selling out. Once Amazon sold out, the new price try to keep a lid on it. And soon enough, it didn't. It just popped, right? We were like selling the book for like $60, $70 at some points.
By November 25th, we were out of stock. A very, very popular book was out of stock, right? And so, as soon as people come back in at a high price in the 20s and the 30s, that's gone instantly.
Yeah.
And again, if you look at the previous year, like you look at this year here, there was the new prices that actually did hold strong. It looks like the tail end it went back up. But then you see years before that where it did really well. I mean, it had sales drops in the 50s. So my point is that just because a book doesn't perform well one year doesn't mean that it won't perform well the next year. It's something to keep your eye on. Now, majority of Christmas books that do perform well and have great historical keeper data are going to perform well, but not all in all cases, right? And so here's an example. Last year, I'd be super excited. I'm like, wow, this book is $2.86. Amazon just went on stock. It actually has previous history of Amazon not being on the listing, and that did amazing. But there's a little bit of, uncertainty, right, Victor? Right? Because there's no way you can predict the future. There's no way that you can have a crystal ball. That's why we also recommend what, Victor? Do we recommend going deep on one book?
No, definitely not. You probably want to buy all these Christmas books, and probably no more than a few copies of each Christmas book.
Right.
And even if, like, to say that last Christmas book, at most, like, I'd buy one, at most, or if I felt kind of shaky on it, just track it, right? Because there's still next year. This book is still going to be a Christmas book for next year. There's still going to be a lot of demand for it. So that's a book that's going to be in my trackable list for years to come.
Yep. Now, my next question for you, Victor, is what's a really easy way? Let's say you do happen to find a Christmas book. And I'll illustrate it here in a sec. What's a really easy way that something you can do on the listing here to potentially find other also winning books?
Yeah, pretty easy. Actually, you just scroll down. Right here, the first one up is the Christmas oranges. Anything that says bought together, that basically what Amazon is doing is like, oh, you're looking for Christmas books. Here's another Christmas book. And basically it's telling you, hey, here's another pattern that looks identical to the one you just looked at. And you probably would be interested in here. And exactly, this is a really great Christmas book. We both have bought and sold this book before.
Yeah, it's a wonderful book. One thing going back to, is the book healthy? I would say this book is healthy right now. It's at a used offer count similar to what it was the year before. Isn't quite as low as it was in the past, right? It's right around like $7 or $8, but it did, here in April get that low, and that was an opportunity to buy it. I obviously missed that opportunity because I didn't buy it then, but you could always go to eBay as well and potentially look for the book there. But this is a book I think will do really well, and again, it came from what's frequently bought together. You can see that these two books are frequently bought together. Christmas Oranges, unfortunately, what causes us to not really want to buy these books right off the bat? What do you see in here, Victor?
Yeah, good question. Actually, both of these books don't spike high enough for us to really want them. I'd say a book has to at least get into like the lower 30s before we're even kind of interested in them, because we're having to pay a lot of overhead costs to do what we do, right? We have prep centers, we have shipping to us, and then to Amazon, all that costs money. So really, where we're starting to make money is in the 30s. And so both of these books didn't make it to the 30s last year.
And the other, just to add on, another dead giveaway is looking at what Amazon's new price is. So it looks like they're right around 12 or 13. Remember that Amazon's price is always going to be the cap. Amazon new price, that yellow shaded box, represents what someone could buy at Prime, free shipping to their house from actually Amazon themselves. Very reputable seller. And there's no way that you're going to be able to sell your book for more than Amazon offering it in new condition, especially if your book's a used condition copy. So in that case, again, a really easy way for you to find books. In our other videos, we did talk about how you could use Keyword Product Finder and how you could try to search for titles like Christmas. That's something that could be really helpful. So going back on pricing, right? Like, how do you determine where exactly you should price the book at? Because some of the examples we just looked at, you have the lowest use price on some of those books get really high. It gets into the mid-20s or the low 30s. But then you also see some books that might not get that high, but then you see the buy box at 35. So what would be your best guess or your strategy? I mean, you've done this for years, right? What would be your best strategy for pricing? Do you price at the buy box price? Do you price at the lowest use price? In between there, what's your strategy there?
Yeah, for me, it's somewhere in between. So I'm looking, I'm not trying to get the peak of last year's Christmas season, but I'm trying to get like right underneath that peak. So if you think of it as like a mountain, and there's a peak to the mountain, and then there's two shoulders, basically the shoulders, or a head and shoulders. So I'm trying to price at the shoulders, not at the head of the price. So that would probably be my like max price, and underneath that would be maybe a couple of dollars less than that. I'm also trying to keep it kind of tight for the Christmas season.
So to just show you exactly with that strategy, let's go back to this Christmas Oranges book.
Yeah.
What would that mean here? So obviously it looks like the mountain is like right here. Like this looks like a mountain to me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So the shoulders, right? You can think of your head as well. Like your head is the peak. These are the shoulders, right adjacent to the side of the peak, right? So it looks like the side is $24 to me, and the peak is in the 30s. So what does that mean for your pricing?
So I'm probably gonna price it right around $25, right? $25. So that's probably because that's where the shoulders are, and the peak's at the $30 range. So let's just say if I had one copy, I might price it a little bit slightly higher, maybe like 26.
Right.
But if I had multiple copies, 24. And if you think of that book, you can buy this book probably for like $6 or $7 on eBay. I'd buy those copies on eBay and make 100% ROI on these type of books.
Yeah, certainly here in March, if you're tracking it right, you could have probably bought a copy right around $6.40, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
If you go and put $24.99, you'd be profiting $4.89, 75% ROI. That's never having to touch the book. It goes right to a prep center. A lot of you are like, wow, Joji, that's a lot of work for $4 profit. But you also got to remember, there's hundreds of Christmas books
Right.
And for a book like this that gets really low in sales rank down to 50,000, I would say picking up a few copies is not a bad idea. Especially, I would consider this pricing at the shoulders as being a pretty conservative pricing
It's
method.
conservative. Yep.
And I think it's more likely you'd sell more copies at that. So for a book like this, I probably like absolute max, I'd probably go as like 5 or something on a book like this, but it's still, potentially 15 or 20 bucks in your pocket. And there's a bunch of books like this. And again, Victor already kind of mentioned, and this was one of my questions, is how does your pricing strategy vary depending on the number of copies you have?
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to go and talk about, well, let's say you only had one copy of this book right now, Victor, versus
Yeah, so
5.
I would be closer to the peak of this price than if I only had one copy, right? So I'm probably going to get closer to that $29.95, maybe even like slightly over that,
Right.
because I only had one copy. But if I had like 5 copies, then I would try to sell them all right around $25, like that $24.95, $25.95, and 5 copies there. So basically, I'm going to get about $20-$25 in profit off of this book. And again, this is just one book.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one book. And going along with that same idea of pricing, like what is the average profit per book? I know you don't have the numbers right in front of you, but what are you expecting for Christmas books? Because I think setting expectations is important. We don't want people thinking, every Christmas book I'm going to flip, I'm going to make $25 profit on, because it's not realistic, right? So what are the sort of targets you're aiming for, like on an average Christmas book? Like what would you consider to be maybe getting to the point where it's not worth it for you? Kind of where you normally want to be, like this is solid, and then like, oh wow, that's a home run.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's awesome about Christmas books is that that's a high ROI. So maybe less as far as a price point, but actually more as ROI. So a lot of my books, I'm making maybe $6 to $10 in profit. That's probably like most of my bread and butter Christmas books. A lot of them that are like a little bit more expensive, say these books are in the 20s, I can actually sell in the 60s. And stuff like that. So, but most of them are, $6 to $10 is what I'm kind of looking for in a Christmas book. It's just that I'm also only spending $6 to $10 on the book. So I'm buying it for $6 to $10 and actually profiting in my pocket $6 to $10. And that's where Christmas books are kind of amazing. I also think of it kind of like a gateway for like people who are doing thrifting, right? Because they see books as, I'm only buying most books at like a couple of dollars. Well, this is what Christmas books will offer you. A lot of these Christmas books you can buy, like we were saying, $5 to $6, and you can double your money off the Christmas book. So
yeah, and the cool thing is, like, if you think about the Christmas book list that we're going to be offering to up to 50 people, this would be Wednesday the 12th, June 12th. There's 250 books on. There's actually a couple more on there. It's like 250 books. If you were making if you bought one copy of each and you're making $5 profit per book, that's over $1,000. It's actually $1,250. And we'll go into what the pricing will be on the live stream, but that'd be well beyond what we're charging you guys. And a lot of the books are going to be awesome books that no one else is really going to find except for the people who end up actually purchasing the list. So there's tons of opportunity. It really comes with volume, like Victor mentioned. You shouldn't expect, I bought this Christmas book for $5, flipped it for $100. Like, there might be one or two here that's possible, but most of them are books that people are buying, for Christmas presents, or they're buying it for, that nostalgic Christmas experience. And, logically, most people are spending in the low 20s to the mid 30s. Like, that's the sweet spot range, right, Victor?
Right, exactly. Yeah, most of my Christmas books are selling in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah. Okay. Now, are there any red flags when it comes to looking at potential books that you'd be thinking about buying that automatically, like, okay, this isn't a book that is good just in general, or like one of the books we looked at recently, this is a book that's not going to perform well this year? Are there any red flags that you should make people aware of, that they should be, okay, I see this, no good?
A good question about Christmas books. Actually, I think that's one of probably the biggest benefits is there's very few red flags for Christmas books. But one of them being, if you want to turn away some Christmas books, are books that never get above, say, $20. So if an Amazon price is always up between $15 to $20 and stays at that consistently, that's a book you want to just stay away from. You might want to track it for maybe next year or the year after that if Amazon ever gets out of stock, but this is not a book you would want to buy this year. That's probably number one. Also, that other book we kind of looked at where the offer count really spiked compared to the year before, that's also kind of a red flag. You probably really want to, like you said, push the brakes there and really decide whether or not this is a book you want to buy and be part of this year. Besides that, I mean, we have like pop-up books and stuff like that. On a pop-up book, I want to make sure I get at least a good condition pop-up book, because the whole reason for the pop-up book is it needs to pop up.
You just pop up.
Right?
Pop up book. If it just pop up, what's
So
it for, right? Yeah.
so if it's acceptable condition, it might not do that, and you might end up getting a return on something like that. But besides that, it's a really safe market to be in. And again, this is why I always talk about Christmas books.
Yeah, and the good news as well is that you don't have to worry about these books being counterfeited. A lot of them are 30, 40 years old. The ones that do well, some of them are a little bit newer, but think about it. Like most of these Christmas books are dead in the off season. 10 months out of the year, they're worthless. Why would a counterfeiting company whose goal is to make money try to counterfeit a book that's worth nothing? That doesn't make any sense. So these books only really pop during that time. And so you don't have to worry about counterfeits. You don't have to run the books run counterfeit.
Yeah, I've never checked a Christmas book through the book run counterfeit checker. Also, I've never heard of anybody getting in trouble with a Christmas book. So pretty awesome.
Because the ones that you'd be selling are books that Amazon's not stock, right? They're usually not even offered in new condition. The only people selling them in new condition are the people who are unwisely, in our opinion, probably buying it in used condition that's in very good condition and sell it like it's new, but actually lists it in new condition, which is something we don't recommend, but probably people do that out there. I doubt there's really very many 1985 copies of any brand new book. Like I would highly doubt it, but it shows up there on Amazon, and you know what? Whatever, it passes the test, and that's okay.
Those sellers are here for the short time, but not for the long time, not for the long haul. Yeah,
absolutely. And one thing that I wanted to share, everyone, actually, this is perfect because I'm wearing the shirt right now. So I'm wearing my BookMine shirt.
Yeah.
Awesome. One way that you can find Christmas books very easily, probably the easiest way possible, is just to be a BookMine member. If you're on the BookMine dashboard, you could go to book type, you can click winter. Looks like right now there's about 39 books, and you can kind of see the keep a graph, right? We have a 1 year snapshot. Pretty clear. You've got some books. You've got cookbooks. You've got 12 Days for Christmas. You've got a lot of books that a known book. You've got a lot of really great books that do well. And here's an example of a Breeding Dogs for Dummies book that does well. And that idea is like, okay, that's kind of one of the really easy ways to find books, and that's why being a BookMine member is really beneficial, because especially after Christmas is over, Victor, when these prices start coming down, there's a ton of Christmas books on here. So
that's a lot and actually, just like last week, there was actually 60 Christmas books. So people are already buying a lot of Christmas books.
And there's a lot of potential books here as well. Now, one question for you, like let's say you're looking at a book like this. It did really well this last year, but the used price isn't really quite as low as what it could be in the future. How do you not forget about this book and come back to it periodically? Like what would be a strategy you're using Keepa to make sure that you don't forget about it?
I mean, real quickly, so the fact that BookMine has told me that this is a winter book, I'm already excited about it, right? Because I want this to be part of my inventory. So I'm going to click on it, go look at it, and realize, oh, actually last year it went slightly lower there in September and October, and I know books repeat their pattern. So I want to make sure I keep this and track it. So it's easy, actually. What you do is you go to the top there where there's track. You want to click on track. Yep. Click track product, and then put the used price that you were interested in. I forgot what the price was, like $5 or $6, something like that. Put that there, and then
$2 at the base price.
$2, yeah, why not? Put like $2.50,
$2.25.
Yeah, and then go down there and make sure it's tracked for 10 years, because I want to track this for as long as Keep allows me to track it. Click save, and now I have this book. And so in September, I'm probably going to get an email, and that's when I'm going to go buy this book. So I'm going to buy this book for $2 and sell it in the 30s.
Yeah, I mean high 20s. I mean,
no brainer here.
So $2 for shipping, you're probably gonna be at $5 to $6. You could potentially buy on eBay for even less than that. And yeah, your goal is probably 25 to 30 here. It looks like we had one tell-in sale potentially at 60, which actually happened in January. And actually, see what I mean? This is why you send your books in. Someone sold a book in February when the cheapest price was 30. So it just shows, and there's still people buying it, right? People buying it at $15. For a book like this, again, a couple of important things, right? It's a book that doesn't have an amazing sales rank, even though it does dramatically improve. It doesn't get to the point where it, has this really,
pronounced,
very well pronounced U in the same way like one of the previous books did. Let's see if we can find that. Like this book, for example. See how, guys and gals, how the sales rank gets really low for a long period of time. Yeah, that's not happening on this other book, right? So this is a book that I would say don't buy 5 copies of. This is a book you get the notification in September.
Buy one copy of. Yeah.
Put it up there for $24 to $29.99, as the min and max price. Make $7 profit on the book, and then sell it for the next decade. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The other thing that we can kind of glance here is that when Amazon is selling it, the price doesn't quite get as high just because there's more competition. There's also Amazon selling in brand new condition, but clearly when Amazon's not on the listing, this is again going back to like, hey, this book here that we showed in the beginning is not a great book yet, but it's going to be an amazing book sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing that you could do easily to track this book into the future is use the same track product feature. And what you can do is you can say, get notified when, let's say the Amazon price gets really high. So you could say something like the Amazon price gets to $30 or more. Let me know, because that means used prices have the opportunity to get up to the 25, right? Or what you can say is, let me know if the used price gets to, $20 or more. And what that would tell you, so I'm going to click this little arrow button that says or more. And what that would tell us is that in the future, if this used price ever gets to 20, oh, wow, this book must be popping off this year. It must be December. The book used price got to 20. Oh, Amazon is out of stock now. Okay, this is a book that you're like, okay, next year and the year after that, it's probably going to be an amazing book. Would you agree that those are good strategies, Victor?
That's exactly correct. And that was an advanced strategy, actually clicking on if Amazon is higher priced. And I think that's the pretty cool little tip there. And yeah, exactly. That's great. Do that. And, in the years to come, that book is going to sell out. Amazon is going to be out of stock one day. And that's going to be a great book to buy.
Yep. And so we're just scrolling through BookMine. There's tons of awesome books here. Like I said, there's over 30. And the good news here is that if you guys want to trial BookMine for free, I mean, you can do so for 10 days and literally just cancel and not pay us anything. And you just have a bunch of Christmas books that you can buy. That's obviously not our goal. Our goal, we also want you to see the value that BookMine offers and see why that's just a very small part of the potential of BookMine. I mean, there's so many other positives of BookMine as well when it comes to books, but that's something that you could do if you want. You can see here's a book that just dropped in price. Looks like it normally sells in the 40s. It just dropped down to 20. And again, that's the all-in shipping price. So free 10-day trial. You guys can cancel before the end of 10 days. Hopefully you don't. But that's one easy way to find books. So with that said, without further ado, Victor, let's go ahead and give away 3 of the 250 books on the Christmas list that we will be launching. Again, it's version 2, 250 completely different Christmas books that were not on version 1. I'm hoping and I'm betting that a lot of the people who bought version 1 are going to be there. Because they're like, oh, this thing that I made a bunch of money on. Offering the second one. Maybe I should be there, right?
I think at first they're going to be worried that we're going to give away the same list and then be like, oh, they're not. This is a completely different list. Oh, my gosh. Yep.
Yeah. Now, those people are not going to have 250 books, Victor. They're going to have 500
Christmas books.
If they make $5 per book at 500 books, I mean, it's $2,500.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mortgage payment for some people. Pretty crazy, right? So we're really excited about it. Without further ado, let's go and share some of the books that are going to be on there. So we're going to go and start off with, were you going to say something?
I said, let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. Yeah. Okay. So let's go and start off with this book. I love this book. Sports Illustrated, The Dallas Cowboys, 50 Years of Football. Would you think that this is a Christmas book from looking at it, Victor?
Just seeing the picture of it, just seeing the book, no, I wouldn't think that, right? You would think it's just a football book. And I probably wouldn't have thought it being a Christmas book without seeing the keeper chart behind it. And so it's really surprising that it is, but it is. It's a really great Christmas book.
Look at that. I mean, we just look at the same keeper pattern, right? We're looking for the same pattern we saw back here with both the sales rank going really low and the used price going up. And again, this is an amazing book, the one that we looked at in terms of like how well pronounced those patterns are. And we do that to show you what pattern you're looking for. In this case, if we go back to the Sports Illustrated book, you are seeing the used price go up. Definitely over the last 4 years, and you're seeing the sales rank get better, albeit not nearly as good as it is here. But the point is that, this is a book that probably very few people have found, right, Victor? And the reason for it is nowhere.
It doesn't say Santa, reindeer, snow, anything like that at all, right? It's Dallas Cowboys.
Yep. Not only that, it's not in a category for children's Christmas books or holiday and celebration. So there's tons of books like this that are out there that even we haven't found yet that pop every year. This is an example of a book that, a daughter buys this, doesn't know what to buy her dad for Christmas. And my dad is obsessed about the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, I guess I'll buy this book for $40. It must be an amazing book. And she buys it for $40 and gives it to dad. And he's like, wow, this is an amazing book, right? That's a Christmas gift for somebody. that's not necessarily a Christmas book, but it's a gift for Christmas. And I don't know about you, Victor. I'm pretty sure there's more than one NFL football team. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Could
Ton of
be
football
wrong.
teams out there. Yeah, you can go check out other teams that actually probably might have the same pattern to them.
Yep. So here's a book that July $4, selling in November, December for $50. I mean, quite amazing there, right? So there's one example of books that you can expect to be on the Christmas book list. There's going to be a plethora, a wide variety. Some books are going to be clearly Christmas books, children's Christmas books that weren't on the version 1 list. Some books are going to be like this. They're just Christmas gifts that you would have a hard time finding on your own. And yeah,
So this is always fun, Joji, because you've always asked me that. What would your plan be on a book like this?
yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, you buy it anytime here, January, I mean, it'd be April, March, May, June, July, August, September, October, and then sell it for November, December for triple the price. I mean, that's literally what you would do for a book like this. And again, we're giving this to everyone for free.
Yep.
Due to the fact that we are doing that, and this book sales rank doesn't get incredibly low, I would say definitely don't buy the more one copy, right? Just buy one copy, see how it does. But that's an amazing book that's going to be on the Christmas list. So hopefully that shares that. Let's go over a really awesome book as well. Here's another book. You would look at it. I don't even know how to say this. Do you know how to say
Either. No.
Camellias or Camellias? I'm butchering it. Anyone who's gardener out there can scold me later on, but it doesn't matter if I could pronounce the name of the book or not. What matters is, can I read a keepograph? And what you can see for this keepograph is, again, the same thing. You can see how the used prices every year go up and how the sales rank gets lower. And this book can get insane. I mean, this book can get in the 80s and the 90s and the 100s. I mean, this is
and what's selling in the hundreds, right? It's kind of wild.
Look how low, right, the offer count is this year. It's not quite at a buy price, although it recently was. If you're tracking it, you could have picked this one up for a pretty cheap price. But look, last July and August, again, this is why you set a tracker of multiple days of under $20. And that would be the buy cost on this, is try to get it for probably under 30, honestly. Because look how well it did last January, December, January, getting in the 60s. Not technically a Christmas book. This is a book that's a seasonal January book, because I guess this flowers do well, but it starts to really go down and use the offer count at that point. So we wanted to add it to the Christmas book list because it's an amazing book. For years to come, I mean, you could have bought it here, Victor, in 2016, and you could have bought it there in 2017, and there in 2018. And
there's always an opportunity every year.
Every year you could have bought this book at an amazing price and made a bunch of money. Great book, right, Victor?
Right. And, I think it's good to point out that all these aren't going to be exactly Christmas books. They're going to be some of these are going to be winter books. So this is in particular a winter book, and again, it's a really great winter book.
Another pro tip for you guys: again, this book or this name, Camellias, throw that in the keeper product finder. See if you can come down here and whoa, Victor,
wow, it's
look at all these other recently purchased. It doesn't look from first glance like any of them nearly perform as well as the other ones. But doing that, and like I just analyzed 6 books in the matter of like probably 3 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Like I could have potentially found an amazing book from doing that.
See, I'm not a gardener, but what I'm thinking is happening is that these books, this flower, blooms sometime in January and February, and people want to know about that particular flower. So they're over there wanting to read about it, and that's why they're buying this book at that point. So
look at that, early spring.
Yeah.
Yep. Until December.
Well, it says a low maintenance winter blooming.
To early spring, midwinter, early spring. Usually starting in February, and continuing until April. So an amazing book there. And again, you could take that title here, and you could put that in the Keeper Product Finder. There's also going to be tons of other flowers like that. But again, what I want you to point out, not an easy book to find, not in the category of children's books, children's Christmas books and holidays and celebrations. It's something that you've got to do a lot of digging for to find. And those are the kind of books that are going to be on the list, right? So that's the second book. That, again, this is a book I would say target for under 25, and sales price, honestly, I'm thinking $69.99 all day when it's Christmas time, and often probably even more than that. Incredible book here.
And it looks like it sold out there in the end of February, March timeframe.
Got down to 0. It did. And it looks like it has done that now in 2023. So again, going back to, the book doesn't necessarily always perform identically every year, and some years are better than others. Like it wasn't as good in 2020, the end of 2022, going into 2023. An amazing one going from 2023 and 2024, and also amazing 2 previous years. So again, look at this picture. Are you kidding me? Sells in the 130s and the 150s. That's just ridiculous. That's just, I mean, imagine if you 2 years from now sold for 150, you made $89. What? I mean, just like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you have to think of these books. This book will continue to perform well years into the future.
Yeah, and it is at a really low offer count. So even though you might be like, oh, Joji Victor, you're sharing this with, you're sharing this with everyone on planet Earth and everyone in outer space. There's only 10 copies available right now. There's only going to be a few people who are probably going to go pick up this book. But that's just this year, right? You guys got to be thinking long term. If we're telling you guys a list and you do buy it, I think you're easily going to triple your money just in the first year. But you got to think long term. I'm thinking not just, oh, I can only sell this year. I'm thinking in 2029, Victor, I might be selling 5 copies of this book and making a bunch of money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thinking about how do I know?
Buying it for 10, selling it for 60.
I don't know, because in 2012, this book was $109. This is in high school, Victor. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's
right.
It's a book that is going to do incredible. So, Victor, this is just incredibly fun. I mean, we love giving away free content, free value, free information. I'm hoping you guys are seeing how amazing some of these books are. And again, just want to let you know that we are going to be launching version 2 of the Christmas book list. That's going to be happening June 12th. That's a Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. PST. We're going to be revealing the list, and you want to make sure that you're a BookMine member, because there's definitely going to be major incentives and advantages if you are a BookMine member. And that's one of our ways to try to help you guys, get over to BookMine, because it is an amazing software. But even if you're not planning to buy the Christmas book list, just come, hang out, ask good questions, and you'll get books. We've already showed you 3 of those books, Victor, and there's going to be a couple more that we share, and I think it's going to be a great time, right, Victor?
I imagine we're going to give you some home runs. So yeah, definitely come. You'll at least learn a little bit more about how to find your own Christmas books. Even if you're not ready to buy the Christmas list altogether, you at least will know how to buy a few of them on your own.
Yep. So we're going to go and end it with another just amazing book. I just love this book. Victor, what the heck am I even looking at right now? It's Hard Out
Here for a Shrimp. I have no idea why this pops during, Christmas time. But, we were both amazed when we found this book. But yeah, every year, right around Christmas time, some people are like, yeah, this shrimp book is amazing, which is the funnest part for me, right? We're literally buying shrimp books, but this book, I mean, the proof is in the pudding here. Look at the data.
Look at the data. You could have bought it, here, May, June, July, August, September, October. For $1, $2
for $1. Yeah.
Sold for the 30s, even the 40s, even higher than that, even up to 80. And a couple sales there. Same thing happened the next year, right? Same thing happened the next year. We were sold out we're at an offer count of 0 by December 1st. The best time, Victor, to be selling this book. No one's selling it.
Sold out. So who knows how high you could have gotten it because they were all sold out, right? And I think it's also really cool. Me and you have never shared this book before. Right? Yeah. This is the first time this audience has even seen this book. And so, putting this out there, you guys can make some really good money off of this book. Just, buy it under $10, sell it in between $30 to $40.
Yep. Hard Out Here for a Shrimp. One thing that I love about this is how in the world, Victor, is anyone going to find this book?
I know, without going around and, constantly searching for these type of books out there, always just basically looking on BookMine, there's no real way. I mean, that's what the hard part of this. That's why this list is so valuable.
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking like, wow, okay, I could it definitely says Christmas or Santa or elves or something, reindeer. No, it doesn't say anything like that. It doesn't look like a Christmas book.
Doesn't even look like a Christmas book.
It doesn't. It's in a fiction satire. I don't think anyone's on Keep a Product Finder looking at a fiction satire. Kingswell, I mean, the publisher, I mean, we're just letting you know, right? This is just 3 of 250 books. How could you not just make a killing on this book, right? And imagine all the books that you would get, right, if you do buy the list that no one else is going to have, except for the other 49 people buy it. We are limiting it because, we don't want to just, absolutely flood the market. And again, we are going to give amazing incentives if you're a BookMine member to end up, purchasing that list. But, while you're there at the live stream, ask people in the chat, hey, did anyone here buy V1? What did you think about it? V1 meaning version 1. What did you think about it? Did you make money? And I bet you would hear some pretty good things. So we're going to round out the video. I hope we gave away tons of free value and content, which I'm pretty sure we did here, right? So we really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I had to bring on the seasonal book king, Victor Gallegos, for part 3. I think we gave away a lot of awesome content and value.
You did well. It was
And,
fun.
yeah, I'm excited for the live stream, June 12th, 4:30 p.m. PST to 5:45 p.m. PST. Just come out, have a good time, ask your questions. Victor and I, we're here to have fun, right? We just love flipping books. And when I see, I'm a shrimp and it's a hard life out here and that book pops, it makes me excited. I don't know. I just think that's hilarious. Half the books,
It's a ton of fun.
I'm just laughing. I'm like, this is crazy that some of these books do that. I want to like actually contact the customer and go, why did you buy this book? Like, why do you want this book? I don't understand. But
how did you even know about this book? And what did you think about it for Christmas?
Yeah. It'd be good. So anyways, really excited for you guys to join us on the live stream, and we'll see you on that video. So have a good one, everyone. Peace out.